Ever feel like your brain just kind of checks out when you stare at a spreadsheet for too long?
Yeah, definitely.
Like you're drowning in data but can't make sense of it. You're not alone. Today, we're diving into data visualization.
Oh, fun.
But, and this is key, we're not just talking about making pretty charts and graphs. We're going deeper. We're going to uncover why visuals are the key to unlocking your brain's full analytical potential.
I like it.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing how often we treat data visualization as just a visual aid.
Right.
Like it's just there to make presentations prettier or something. The real magic, though, happens when we understand how deeply it connects to our brain's natural way of processing information.
It's true. So let's break this down. One of the sources we're looking at today highlights the work of psychologist Anne Treisman, and she discovered this incredible ability our brains have called pre-attentive processing. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, definitely.
So you know how you can instantly spot, like, a single red dot in a sea of blue ones?
Uh-huh.
That's your pre-attentive processing working its magic.
It's wild.
It is. It's like our visual system is hardwired to find patterns and outliers, and it does it crazy fast.
Crazy fast. And that right there is why data visualization is so powerful. Charts and graphs aren't just about summarizing data. It's more about presenting that data in a way that aligns with this pre-attentive processing. They let our brains do what they do best. Recognize patterns, anomalies, things that stand out without getting bogged down in endless rows and columns.
Totally. So it's like, instead of handing our brains a giant to-do list, we're giving them a map. They can instantly see the lay of the land, the landmarks, the potential detours, right?
Precisely. And that is where the work of Jacques Bertin becomes so important.
Yeah, tell me more.
He didn't just, create charts. He developed a whole system for choosing the most effective visual elements to tap into this visual processing power we've been talking about.
So he basically gave us, the cheat codes for creating visuals that our brains will love.
Absolutely.
Tell me more.
He categorized these visual cues, things like position on a graph, length, angle, shape, color, and he showed how each one speaks to our cognitive processes in a specific way. Like imagine you have data on, say, 1,000 products and their sales figures. You could use Bertin's system to create a graph where the position of each product represents its sales volume.
Okay.
And then the color intensity represents its profit margin.
So even with that much data, we're talking 1,000 products here, using the right visual cues could help you instantly see which products are your top performers. Maybe even spot some hidden trends or relationships between profit margin and sales volume just from a glance.
Exactly. Bertin's system gives us the tools to translate complex data into a language. Our brains understand a language of shapes, colors, and patterns.
This is making me think about all the times I've struggled to make sense of data in its raw form. What if I've been missing out on key insights because I wasn't speaking the right language?
It's definitely possible.
But okay, let's say we're convinced visuals are important. But what happens when we take these visuals beyond static images?
Now you're talking. Now you're getting to the really fascinating part.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's talk about the power of interaction. It's like, imagine the difference between just looking at a map, right?
Yeah.
And actually walking those streets.
Yeah.
Exploring a city firsthand.
Okay.
That's the kind of leap we're talking about with interactive data visualization.
So instead of just observing the data from a distance, we're getting hands-on with it. I can definitely see how that would be more engaging. But how does it actually, change the way our brains process the information?
So there's this brilliant idea from James J. Gibson. He said, we must perceive to act and act to perceive. It's like our senses aren't just these passive receivers, right?
Right.
They're active participants in how we understand the world. We learn by doing, by interacting.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But with data, we're not physically touching anything, right? How does that perceive to act idea play out in the digital world?
Okay, so think about how you'd examine a sculpture, for example.
Okay.
You wouldn't just stand in one spot and stare at it, right?
Right, you'd walk around.
Exactly. You'd walk around it, view it from different angles, maybe even touch the surface to get a feel for the texture. Interactive data visualizations, they give you that same kind of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You can zoom in on details that catch your eye.
Yeah.
You can filter the data to focus on specific aspects. You can even change the way the data is visualized altogether just to see if you can uncover hidden patterns.
So it's like each interaction, each thing you do is like a mini experiment, giving us new insights that we wouldn't get from just looking at a static image.
Exactly.
It's not just seeing the data anymore. It's like we're thinking with the data.
Exactly. And you know how we were talking about that limited short-term memory earlier?
Yeah.
Interactive visualizations can actually help us overcome that limitation too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because when we actively engage with data,
Yeah.
we're constantly refreshing those neural pathways, right?
Yeah.
We're keeping the information active in our minds.
Right.
Instead of trying to remember like a long string of numbers,
Right.
we're building mental models, creating a richer, more enduring understanding.
This is really making me think about how I approach data in my own work,
Yeah.
you know? Instead of seeing it as this overwhelming static thing, what if I looked for ways to make it more interactive, to find those aha moments hiding within the numbers?
And that's the exciting part. The potential here is huge.
Yeah.
We often associate data visualization with, like, business dashboards or scientific research. But honestly, these principles apply to everyday life as well.
That's true. That's true. Think about planning a trip, for example.
Yeah.
You could have a spreadsheet with all the potential hotels, their prices, distances from attractions, all that stuff. Or you could plug all that data into an interactive map.
Right.
Where you can visually compare locations, see how prices change based on different dates. Basically, you can play with different scenarios.
Exactly. And that kind of playful exploration, it can lead to much more informed and honestly more satisfying decisions.
For sure.
Suddenly, you're not just passively consuming information, you're collaborating with it, shaping your understanding through interaction.
This is really shifting my whole perspective. It's like we've been handed this incredibly powerful tool, but most of us haven't even begun to tap into its full potential. So if we're ready to level up our data literacy, where do we go from here? It feels like we're talking about graduating, right? Like going from data literacy to data fluency.
Exactly. And the best part is that anyone can learn this language. It's not about memorizing a bunch of technical jargon, or becoming a coding whiz overnight. It's about understanding how your own brain works and then finding the tools and techniques that resonate with your natural way of processing information.
So it's less about cramming our brains with data and more about giving them the right tools to actually interpret it and interact with it. Kind of like, I don't know, how a chef doesn't just throw a bunch of ingredients together, right? They use their knowledge of flavors and techniques to create something amazing.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
And just like any skill, the more you practice, the more intuitive it becomes,
Right.
Start by looking for opportunities to interact with data in your daily life. Pay attention to the charts and graphs you encounter. What works well? What could be improved? Challenge yourself to find new ways to visualize information. You might be surprised by the insights you uncover.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. We've gone from feeling kind of overwhelmed by data to seeing it as this incredible playground of potential insights.
It is a playground, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like we've been handed the keys to a whole new dimension of understanding.
And the truly exciting part is that we've only just scratched the surface. As technology continues to evolve, who knows what incredible tools for data visualization we'll have at our fingertips.
That's true, yeah. So to everyone listening, don't let data intimidate you. Embrace your brain's natural craving for visuals, experiment, explore, and never stop asking, what if?
What if, exactly.
Why might just unlock a whole new world of understanding?
And maybe even change the world with the insights you uncover.
Well said. That's a wrap on this deep dive into the power of data visualization. Until next time, keep those brains engaged and those data visualizations coming.